Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Boating season is winding down. Now is the time to be looking ahead, looking forward. Always look forward. For the best price, the best selection, and the best customer service anywhere in East Tennessee, you need to get to Madisonville Marine if you're in the boat buying zone. Joe Special and his team have done a great job since 1976. There's a reason that I always say there's no better place to buy a boat, and that reason is there's no better place to buy a boat. It's real. madmarine.com. And Bob Hodge here can attest to that, can't
Yes,
you?
I can.
Okay.
I need a new one.
Very good. Let's introduce the next VFL we have with us, another teammate of Mike Stoll and Sterling Hinton. JJ Surles is back with us. JJ, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
I want to break you out here to talk about the defense, your side of the ball. Not a great performance yesterday by any stretch. The things that you noticed that drove you mad as a former defensive player?
Just inconsistent. You know, you make a tackle for a loss. I mean, how many times last year we led games, we'd have 10 tackles for loss, but then you whiff on your next 5 plays. You know, I think we're a little soft in the secondary too. I mean, you're giving guys 5-yard cushions all the time when you should be, man up on them, hit them at the line of scrimmage, and don't let them get off. But it's just inconsistent and very frustrating.
Tackling, I know, was something that stood out yesterday, especially the zipper touchdown where he danced around Haddon, danced around Charles, and ran over and through Trayvon Flowers.
Yeah.
Tackling was poor, and then didn't set the edge at times either.
Well,
go ahead.
They were, to me, they were so concerned with Richardson running that we're going to, we're going to give up some things. Because last year, Matt Corral came in here, hottest quarterback in the SEC at that point, possibly. And you did a good job of shutting down his passing game. But you let him run for what, 198, 195. And so I think Tennessee might have learned from that, and I think they may have learned a little too much.
It looked like they played a lot of zone and left a lot of those receivers open because they wanted to
keep
their eyes on
were back
Richardson.
in the backfield.
I don't know that I blame them for that because if you go, I told everybody all week that asked me about it, I would, if you could make him beat you with his arm, take it. His legs are his biggest threat. I think they looked at it and said, we dare you to throw. He almost beat him, but he didn't. I remember there was a Peyton Manning game years ago. You can guess who he was playing against. The players came out and talked about it afterwards. The Broncos were rolling. The other team was beaten up. But that team knew that if they gave Manning a certain look, he would run into it. He did all day. They ran for like 200 yards, and everybody's screaming about the other team's defense. The other team won the game because Manning ran the clock out on himself running the football. So you look at it and you say, well, where was your run defense? Well, we gave that up to win the game. And I think, my guess is, if they came out against Anthony Richardson again tomorrow, they'd probably come out with the same game plan.
I think it'd be similar. I think, like JJ said, I'd like to see you get up and cram them at the line of scrimmage a little bit more, But I just think that they were just terrified after last year, quarterbacks running all over them. I think that had to be in their head.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and I think, you look at the defense as a whole. I think the tackles and the ends interiorly are playing very well. I mean, you look at the running backs for Florida, not Richardson, but the running backs, they shut them down, right? There's a lot of second and longs, third and longs. They did their job. Secondary needs a ton of work. Also, there was one that I think Richardson scored on. They shift everybody over.
Yeah. We
didn't adjust. Like, we're stacked over on this side. There's 5 guys over, and they just outnumbered everybody to the corner. So there's still things that I think from a mental standpoint they're going to have to learn. Definitely need work in the secondary.
My thinking is, we talked about this when Josh Heupel was hired. We went back and looked at the defensive numbers at UCF. You can go back and look at this offense at Baylor. They sent a lot of offensive players to the NFL. Yeah. It wasn't defensive guys going there. You didn't see great defenses. You saw great offenses with Gus Malzahn. Chip Kelly, known for offense, not defense. With this style of play, we put up all the numbers and said, defense is always going to be in a disadvantage because of the style of play. I think we forget that. I think people forget that from time to time.
Mention one more thing we may have forgotten.
What?
That this team, after the 2020 season was over, lost 30-something players.
Yeah.
You're still not dealing with a veteran SEC caliber roster. Maybe SEC caliber, but it's not veteran yet. You've got young guys who have been thrown into it.
You've had 2 classes to try and plug all those losses.
Exactly.
JJ, I just wonder, in today's college football, best players go to offense now.
Right.
So
That's why he was on defense.
Come on, man.
I just wonder if the days of we're going to have a shutdown defense. Georgia was about the only one in the conference last year.
About the only one in the country.
Yeah, about the only one in the country. I think you're looking at, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, you got to have a pass rush, got to make a couple of turnovers, and make a few key stops. The days of a shutdown defense are gone. It's more about having some playmakers who can make 2 or 3 big stops in a game and then let your offense do the rest. If you look across the country, that's what it seems to say. As a defender, do you agree with that, hate that, disagree?
Well, I mean, I think still just I agree with you, but the players and the athletes that we have are getting better. I'm not sure if we're there yet, but I think this consistency, the talent's coming back, it's getting better. The coaching's doing a great job right now. I think the defensive line coach does a great job. Secondary, again, you're backing up. You're 5 yards off, you're backing up. It's hard to cover that way.
And we knew that was going to be the issue. I mean, that's what we all ranked it all off season. What's the biggest position of trouble going into the season? Secondary.
I think your linebackers and your front four have played pretty dadgum well.
I agree.
Let me put up some numbers. This is what I'm not trying to defend them. I'm just trying to give everybody a proper perspective here. Last year in the SEC, just to tell you how the game has changed, only Texas A&M kept all their foes under 40 points. The other 13 SEC teams at least gave up 40 points once. Even Georgia allowed 40 to Alabama in their first matchup. 8 of 14 SEC teams last year gave up 40 points or more at least twice. That would not have been acceptable or heard of 10, 15 years ago. SEC teams on average last year gave up 30 points or more 4 times each. That was on average last year, 4 30-point games each. Only Auburn, Georgia, and Texas A&M had fewer than 2 30-point games against them. So if you're sitting there saying, this defense sucks, I got news for you. Most defenses suck. That's just, the game has changed. It's now one-on-one between quarterbacks.
Imagine how bad Sal Sinceri would be. Because he was doing that back, 10 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. Is this the Achilles heel, though? We talked about the offense is good enough to win a championship. Even though the defense stepped up and won at Pitt, this is your Achilles heel, isn't it?
Yes, I think
I think it's secondary.
Secondary specifically.
You get down, I think JJ's right. The secondary, the tackling. And again, I think, too, the system is, you're playing man coverage. You can be physical, but you got your back turned to the quarterback. If you don't have a mobile quarterback, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
You want to watch him and make him, throw the ball. He did.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you
surprisingly
still
well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, as many guys as he had open, how many balls did he throw high that the guy got no yards after catch because it wasn't in the right spot? How many balls did he throw into the ground, tackle his own guy?
Yeah.
So that worked in your favor. All right. When we come back, now is the time for individual achievement. We will talk next about who deserves credit in yesterday's game, all the names we haven't thrown out yet. We got much more to come, including, is Tennessee on a better upward trajectory than Florida as a program? What is this team going to do in October? We got lots more. Come on back on the Sports Source.